Hi, welcome to my video on changing a fraction to a decimal, and your numerator, your denominator is not a 10, 100, or 1,000. Let's change them to a 10, 100, 1,000 denominator first, and then convert. What if the denominator of a fraction is not 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000? Can the fraction be expressed as an equivalent fraction with denominators of 10, 100, 1,000, etc.? Is the denominator a factor of 10, 100, or 1,000? So if it ends in a 5, 5 is a factor. If it ends in a 2, 2 is a factor. If the denominator is 50, then it's a factor. If the denominator is 20, it's a factor. If yes, change the denominator and express as a decimal. Remember, the previous video was on 10, 100, or 1,000. So 1/2 is, if we multiply 1/2 by 5 over 5, we will get 5 over 10, and 5 over 10 is decimal 5. 1 over 20. 20 is 5 and a 5. Why? Because 20 times 5 is 100. And 5 times 1 is, and as a decimal, the 5 has to go in the hundreds place, so decimal 0.5. 6 over 200. Well, if we can make this 100 by dividing by 2, and we divide the 6 by 2, we get 3 over 100. And 3 over 100 is 0.03. 1/4. It takes 25 fours to make 100. So we multiply top and bottom by 25, so that gives us 25 over 100. And that's 0.25. 4 again, so we multiply by 25. 25 over 25, that's 75 over 100. And as a decimal, 0.75. 4 over 40. Let's see, 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 40 10. So we reduce it down, we get 1 over 10, which is a decimal, 0.1. 1/10 is 1 over 10, 10. The 1 is in the 10th place. 1/5. So the easiest one to do here is multiply the denominator by 2. So 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. So 2 over 10 is decimal 2. 50. We need 50, so we multiply by 2 to get 100. So we multiply the top by 2. We get 26 over 100, which is 0.26. Again, the 6 has to go in the hundreds place. And we got 100 here and 500 here, so we can cancel the zeros. We can divide by 5. There's many things we can do on this one. If we divide by 5, we get 100. If we divide 5 into 100, we get a 20. So 20 over 100 is 0.20 or 0.2. This 0 here is not necessary. 25, we need a 4 times 25 to get 100, so we multiply top and bottom by 4. 4 over 100. 4 over 100 is decimal 0.4. 25 again, we multiply by 4. 4 9s are 36. 25 times 4 is 100. And we get decimal 36 because the 6 has to go in the hundreds place. 25 again, so we multiply by 4. That gives us 84 over 100. And that's 0.84. 6 going into 100 is, it'll work, but it won't be a nice number. So what we'll do, we'll just cancel the 3. 3 into 3 goes once. 3 into 6 goes 2. So 3 over 6 is a half. And a half, let's multiply it by 5 over 5. That gives us 5 over 10. And 5 over 10 is 0.5. 4 over 16. 16 is not a good number to go into 100. So 4 into 4 goes once. 4 into 16 goes 4. And 4 goes into 100, so we got to have a 25 to get 100. So 25 top and bottom, That gives us 25 over 100, which is decimal 25. 15 can't go in 100, but like notice 3 goes into both of them. 3 into 9 goes 3, 3 into 15 goes 5. And 3/5 multiplied by 2. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 5 is 10, and 6 over 10 is 0.6, because the 6 got to go into 10th place. 21 and 28. 28 will go into 100 nicely, so let's divide by 7. 7 into 21 goes 3. 7 and 28 goes 4. So we have 3/4. 3/4 multiplied by 25. That gives us 75. 3 times 25. 4 times 25 is 100. 75 over 100 is decimal 75. 30 can't go into 100 nicely. Can we reduce it? 3 into 30 goes 10, right? Oops, sorry, 10. 3 into 12 goes 4, so we have, canceling 3, 4 over 10, which is decimal 4. That's a 10. We divided 30 by 3 to get 10. We divided 12 by 3 to get 4. 75 is not a good number, so I see a 3. 3 into 33 goes 11. 3 into 75 goes 25, reducing it down. And we need to multiply by 4. 44, why 4? Because 4 times 25 is 100. So we get 44 over 100, which is decimal 44. Now we have mixed numerals. Mixed numerals, well, that's a 2. 1/2 is the same as 5 over 10, because we multiply top and bottom by 5. So that becomes 2.5. And 9 over 25, 25, we multiply it by 4, we get 100. 4 9s is 36, so that gives us 4.36. We have a 4 again, so we need to multiply it by a 25. So that gives us 7. And 3 times 25 is 75. 4 times 25 is 100. Perfect. So it gets 7.75. And we have 4/5, and 4/5 multiplied by 2. That gives us 3. 2 4s are 8. 5 2s are 10. So 3 and 8 over 10 becomes 3.8. 50, we multiply it by 2, top and bottoms. 6, and that's 74 over 100. So that's 6.74. And 6 over 20, multiply it by 5 over 5. Or you can, there's one way to get 1 and 30 over 100. And 30 over 100 is decimal 30, or we can say 1.3. Another way to do it would be to reduce the 6 and the 20 to 3 over 10. 3 over 10. Oops, sorry. 3 over 10, and 3 over 10 is 1.3. Let's continue. Now, I showed you what to do by, again, doing denominators of 10, 100, or 1,000. Then you can convert to decimals. Here we go. Pause. You work all these out and see if you get the right answers. 4 times 25 is 100, and that's a 75. So 75 over 100 is decimal 75. 5, you multiply by 2 to get 10, so that's 8 over 10. And 8/10 is decimal 8. 25, you multiply by 4, so that gives you 44 over 100, which is decimal 44. 50, you multiply by 2, it gives you 14 over 100. 14 over 100 is decimal 14. 20, you multiply by 5. 5 9s are 45. 20 times 5 is 100. 45 over 100 is decimal 45. 4, you multiply by 25. So that gives us 25 over 100. 25 over 100 is decimal 25. We have a 25, we multiply by 4. That gives us 98. Whoops, 4 fours and 96. So 96 over 100. And 96 over 100 is decimal 96. 50 multiplied by 2. 72 over 100. And that's decimal 72. 5 times 2 makes 10. 10 is, I could have gone with a 20, but 10 is easier. 6 over 10. 6 over 10 is decimal 6. We have a 200. We need 100. So let's divide by 2. 2 into 48 is 24. 2 into 100. 2 into 200 is 100. So 24 over 100 is decimal 24. We have a 500. So let's again go to 100. I could multiply by 2 to get 1,000, but if I divide by 5, I get 100. Divide 25 by 5, I get 5. And 5 over 100 is decimal 0.5. And we multiply by 2 again, so it gives us 4 over 10. 2 times 2 is 4, 5 times 2 is 10, 4 tenths is decimal 4. 8 is not a good number. 2 over 8 becomes 1 over 4. When you reduce it, divide by 2 each. Multiply it by 25. Oops, 25 over 25. That gives us 25 over 100. 25 over 100 is decimal 25. 30, not a good number, but I see a 3. 3 into 9 goes 3. 3 into 30 goes 10. And 3 tenths is decimal 3. 7. To get 100 here, I need to divide by 7. Oh, top is divided by 7 and 21 goes 3. 7 into 700 is 100. And 3 over 100 is decimal 0.3. 9 and 45 reduces down. 9 and 9 goes once. 9 and 45 goes 5. And I multiply top and bottom by 2. That gives me 2 over 10. That's an equal sign there. And 2 over 10 becomes decimal 2. 20, I could break it down into dividing by 4. 4 into 20 goes 5. 4 into 40 goes 10. So 5 over 10 becomes decimal 5. You could cancel the zeros and get 2 over 4 and get a half, etc., etc. Lots of ways to do it. I needed 200, so I divide by 2. 62 divided by 2 is 31. 31 over 100 is decimal 31. I got 1 and 7 tenths, 7 fiftieths. I multiply top and bottom by 2. So there's 1 and 14 over 100. So there's 1 decimal 14. 60, can't go into 100, but I see a, I see a 2. So 2 and 9 and a 30. No, 30 is not good. 3 and the 9 goes 3. 3 and 30 goes 10. 10 is good. I could have divided by 6 into 18 to get 3. 6 into 60 goes 10. So that's 8 decimal 3. Changing a fraction to a decimal, if you can find a good denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000. But there are some popular fractions that you should learn and memorize. 1/4 is decimal 25. Think of it as 1/4 as being a quarter of a dollar, which is 25 cents. But if you want to change this to multiplying it by, say, 25 over 25, that gives you 25 over 100, which is decimal 25. 2/4 is twice 1/4. So 2/4 is 0.50, which is decimal 5. Or 2/4 is the same as a half. And a half is multiplied by 5 over 5. A half is 5 over 10. So 2/4 is a half. And a half I have memorized as 0.5, 5 tenths. 3/4 is 3 times decimal 25. So 3/4 is decimal 75. I have memorized. I know what 1/4 is. 3/4 is 3 times much. Remember, 3/4 of a dollar is 75 cents. Think of it that way. 1/5 is 1/5 to multiply by 2 over 2. That gives us 2 over 10. 1/5 is decimal 2. I almost think like 5 divided into 10 is 2, decimal 2. 2/5 is twice 1/5. So therefore you have decimal 4. 3/5 is 3 times 1/5. So it's decimal 6. 4/5 is 4 times 1/5. So it's 4 times decimal 2, which is decimal 8. So I have memorized 1/4, a half, or 2/4, or 3/4. I have these memorized. And 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5 is 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. Knowing that, let's change these down here. 6 and a half is 0.5. A half is 0.5. A half is 0.5. So I take the half and put a 5 there. Take the half and put a 5 there. Take the half and put a 5 in. 1/4 is decimal 25. So that's 2 decimal 3.25. 1/4 is decimal 25. So it's 0.825. 3/4 is decimal 75. 3/4 is decimal 75. I have it memorized. 1/5. 1/5 is decimal 2. 2/5 is decimal 4. 3/5 is decimal 6. And 4/5 is decimal 8. So think of it, memorize these, and you'll see them over and over and over as you do your math going through your grades. If you like the video, then you can click on my like button, the subscribe button, click on the notification bell to receive notification when I add more videos. Write a comment if you wish, and also visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. You get information about me, first section, my degrees, experience in teaching math. Second section is on my videos, gives you the teaching strategy you're going to use to help you learn your math. And there's another section on content, and the content has the topics, the number of videos in each topic. The topics completed will be in black font. The topics to be completed will be in red font. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.